Welcome to the Amberly Lago Show, stories of true grit and grace. Hey, Amberly here. Thank you so much for tuning into the show today. I'm sending you love and I'm giving you a message from my heart to yours. I decided to do a little solo cast. I'm sitting here in my office. There's a huge thunderstorm outside, so you might be able to hear thunder. And I also have my sweet little pup Nugget in my office. You might hear some puppy dog cries because she just had surgery yesterday. But I wanted to share really ways for you, proven strategies to break through doubt, fear, burnout, so you can rise with clarity and purpose and impact. And these are things that I have done throughout my healing journey, throughout my transformational journey. And I want to share with you so you can have an unstoppable personal and professional life. And I will say that, I started the Unstoppable Success events in 2020. March 16th, actually, is the day it launched. And I remember that day because it was my birthday. And it was also the day that the world totally shut down. It was when COVID happened, and in California, everything really shut down. And I was so excited. I had been working on the curriculum and all these videos and all kinds, a 43-page, beautifully done workbook. And my husband said, "You're going to launch something called Unstoppable the day the world has stopped." And I was like, "Yep, I sure am." And here it is, 2025. And I'm still going. And I'm not saying that because I don't fail or fall flat on my face or mess up. Being unstoppable doesn't mean you don't have challenges or you don't trip up or stumble or hit roadblocks. It just means that you decide to keep moving forward. And if this episode really speaks to you, then the Unstoppable Summit, April 25th and 26th, is where we take these lessons even deeper, and you can walk away with a roadmap. Not only that, a community and the fire to walk into your calling. So, number one, and like I said at the summit, we're going to dig deeper into these, but I wanted to give you just a short and sweet episode to kind of kickstart your day and keep you moving forward. So, number one, this is a power move. Own your story. When I say own your story, I mean be in acceptance for who you are, where you are on your journey. I used to have so much shame. There was a time I was lying in bed. I was overwhelmed. I was sad. I felt broken mentally, physically, emotionally. And in that moment, I had two choices. I could give in to the fear, or I could rise with grit, grace, and a whole lot of faith. And I chose to keep moving forward. I thought this cannot be the rest of my life. And so that moment didn't really define me, but it really shapes how I show up in the world and why I created this unstoppable movement. Because, I've had a lot of people go, "Well, how do you keep going when you were diagnosed with this incurable nerve disease? And how did you learn to accept what you had so much shame about and then shine a light on it?" And I will tell you, I had help with that. Sometimes I think we need people to believe in us before we can believe in ourselves. And sometimes I think we need people to love us before we can start to love ourselves. And I say that because I had lost any belief in myself. I had lost my identity. I looked down at all my scars with disgust instead of love. And I had Dr. Wiss, who was the doctor that did 34 surgeries on my leg after my motorcycle accident to save my leg from amputation. He's the one who really shifted my perspective on this. So I went into him and I had this big solution of, "You know what, Dr. Wiss, this is not working out for me. I appreciate all the surgeries you did, but we need to just go ahead and cut my leg off because it's giving me too much pain. It's full of scars. I need to move on with my life." And he did something that changed my life, changed the trajectory of my whole life and career. He put my leg in his lap And he looked at it like it was a masterpiece. And he gave me hope that maybe I could start to look at it differently too. And it took courage and it took time, but slowly but surely I started to look down at my scars with a whole different perspective. Instead of looking down and being just disgusted and in shame and not wanting anyone to see my scars, I now show my scars so others know they can heal. And I also look down at my leg as, wow, look at how the body can heal and how powerful the human spirit is. And your story holds your power. And the moment you stop hiding it, you start healing others through it. There's somebody out there that would love to hear your story and how you made it through a challenge or a trauma and you're showing up every day. And you know what? People, they don't buy products necessarily. They buy transformation. And your story is what creates connection and trust. And when you're showing up being authentically you and you're giving your own example of a story you once felt shame around, but now you can use it to inspire or lead, that is when you are going to connect on a deeper level. So instead of, you know, being in shame about something, shift shame to service. Instead of why me, ask who needs this story today? I always, when I get in my head about, oh, who am I to go do a solo cast episode or who am I to go speak on that stage? Number one, I think of something that my client Debbie said to me when I was so nervous about going to give my TED talk. She said, Amberly, you made it through 34 surgeries. I think you can go get up on that stage and talk. So, number one, think about the hardest thing that you've overcome. And when you think about what you've overcome, it's going to give you the courage to do the next hard thing. And number two, remember it's about you being of service and the people that you serve. When I take me and my ego out of the equation, and I just think, you know what? There's somebody out there that I can help, even if it's one person. It changes everything. So, at the Unstoppable Success Summit, we do deep work on uncovering your story and really learning how to package it into your brand, your message, and your business. We talk about influence. I have Renee Rodriguez who specializes in that, and he's going to be sharing at the event. So get ready. All that information is in the show notes. Number two on tips and to break through any doubt, fear, or burnout is mastering your mindset. So, power move number two is master your mindset. Every action you take starts with a thought. And your internal narrative can either fuel you or it can stop you dead in your tracks. It can paralyze you. I know because I have been there. Look, I will never forget a day when I was in my office and I was about to speak to a group of 300 people. And I was in my head and I was freaking out. And I started praying. And I was like, God, you know what? I just started talking to God because we have that kind of relationship. I was like, God, this is hard and I just get so anxious and I don't think I'm meant for this. Maybe this is just not what I am meant to do. And at that time, right when I started talking to God, my phone lit up and my friend Ryan Stuman's face appeared on my phone. He was calling me and I was like, oh, Ryan never calls me. What? Why is he calling me? And I answer the phone and he's like, hey, Amberly, I'm doing an event. We're expecting 4,500 to 5,000 people to show up. Can you come speak? And I right away just said, yes, thank you. I'll be there. Hung up the phone and I was like, God, you have a pretty good sense of humor. But I have had to shift my mindset from doubt and fear to immediately flipping the script on things that I tell myself, what I call the inner bully or the inner critic says to me. I have to lock that bully up in jail. So, what can you do to create these mindset rituals? For me, I believe affirmations help, declaration, prayer, gratitude, and having a morning mantra. Because when I wake up, because of CRPS, I'm going to tell you, I get up, sometimes pain wakes me up, and I can immediately go to the negative mindset of See, Amberly, you can't even walk without a limp today. See, you should just give up. You should give up. Get back in bed. Oh, you're too tired. You're hurting too bad to go to the gym. And I have to flip that script and say, I am healthy. I am thriving. I am unstoppable. I am prepared. I am powerful. And I get to do these things. I get to get out of bed and walk on my own, even if it is with a limp. And so flip the script wide away and then really speak it before you believe it because your brain follows your voice. And so, look, I've seen mindset breakthroughs from past summit attendees. I've seen mindset breakthroughs from people who have been in my mastermind. I will give you an example. I'm giving Jana Johnson a shout out right now. When she first came to the one of the very first Unstoppable events, she's this gorgeous girl, bombshell, let me just say. And she walked in with a baseball cap pulled way down over her face, kind of hiding. And I was like, who is this gorgeous lady? And she went and sat in the corner in the back. And I realized, oh my goodness, it's Jana. Well, that day we did a challenge because people were afraid to go on social media. They were afraid to post pictures. And look, I get it because I remember how scared I was when I first started. So I did a challenge and I challenged everyone to go back to their hotel room after the event and make a reels. And that's your first step. And then it gets easier and then it gets easier. And back then, I think it was, we didn't even have reels. It was go do an Instagram live or do an IGTV, whatever it was back then. But she did, and now she's got a best-selling book. She's got a top podcast. She's featured in the media all the time. She's on social media more than I am. So I know that these shifts help, but you really have to practice it. And for me, it's a daily practice. And so what is going to help you either flipping the script on the stories that you're telling yourself, having a gratitude practice, and shifting what you can't do into what you can do with gratitude, and shifting what you don't have into what you do have with gratitude. And so really learn to master your mindset and start listening to positive things. In your life. So whether it's a podcast, whether it's doing meditation, a guided meditation, I use the Calm app. I'm not affiliated with Calm in any way, but it really helps me, especially at night when my mind is just going a million miles an hour and I just want to settle back into my body and kind of be into a positive mindset. I also pray the last thing I do before I get into bed. And sometimes my prayer is only like, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. And I'll say it over and over. Thank you for keeping me sober today. Okay. The number 3 power move, build resilient routines. Y'all, this is important. I was killing myself before I wrote my new book, Joy Through the Journey. I was on the brink of burnout, and I share this in the opening of the book. And I am just raw and real and share a lot of stuff that a lot of people probably had no idea. I don't even think my husband knew. But I was on the brink of burnout and I had to get back to basics. And so I want to share this with you. Halt. First of all, halt. Don't ever get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired because that is when you're going to fall off the wagon, pick up an old vice, get into unhealthy habits, say screw it, get into burnout, or even worse. And so, really creating habits that help, your future. Routines that you create equal stability, structure, and strategy, especially during chaos. And so I had to get back to basics and start to think about what are my non-negotiables because these non-negotiables that I had were starting to slip. So I'll just share a few of my non-negotiables. Non-negotiables for me are daily prayer, like getting on my knees and praying. And sometimes I wake up in the morning and like this morning, I Forgot to do it first thing because little Nugget was crying and I was worried about her. But I get on my knees and I pray because it reminds me how small I am and how big God is in my life and how God is so much bigger than all my challenges or struggles. My recovery meetings and connecting with my recovery sobriety sisters and brothers, like that is a non-negotiable for me. That is the most important thing, that I keep my sobriety. Your health is your wealth. Without your health, nothing else really matters. My gratitude practice is a non-negotiable, and moving my body is a non-negotiable, and also resting. If you haven't seen my TEDx talk, I talk about the PACER methodology, and it will really help you with a resilient routine. And I will share it. It's in my book, detailed, but it's PACER stands for perspective, acceptance, community, endurance, and rest. And all these things really help you to be more resilient. So I encourage you, write down your top 3 daily non-negotiables for the next 7 days. And you know what? At the summit, we are not going to just inspire you. We're going to help you implement a system that works for your life and your vision. But I want you to start getting prepared and start getting ready for it, because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Okay. Number 4, power move 4. Y'all, get in the right room. Community is everything. And your environment is either fueling your fire or it's extinguishing it. The people that you surround yourself with, they influence your energy, your confidence, your courage. And being in the room with the right people can change your life. It can change your business. And all it takes is one conversation. And look, there are times I've gone to an event because I not only hold my own events, but I go support my friends who are having events. I go speak at events and I soak up all the information that I learned there. But I'm not just there to soak up the information, I'm there to build relationships. And you never know. You might think you're going to an event to see, like at my event, you might be going, I want to meet Trent Shelton. I got to get to the Unstoppable Success Summit because I have to meet Trent. And you know what? This is an intimate event on purpose, so you can actually meet the speakers. And I have it intimate on purpose so you can make connections. But the connection you make might be in the back of the room. It might be at the VIP event. It might be in the bathroom. You never know how one conversation can change your life. I've had people at events that have become best friends, that have started coaching together, that have done podcast swaps, that have met and gone on to speak at other people's events because they met in the room. So I want you to really think about how you can look at your 5 closest connections. Are they pushing you toward purpose, or are they pulling you into comfort? I want you to jump out of your comfort zone. And you know what? The Unstoppable Success Summit was created for this exact reason. It was to gather faith-filled, purpose-driven women who are on fire for what God has called them to do. And when you can surround yourself with a community of go-getters, it's going to empower you to go not chase your dreams, but catch your dreams. Okay. I know I've been talking a lot about the Unstoppable Success Summit, but can you tell I'm fired up about it, y'all. This is something I've been working on planning for a whole year. It's like bigger than a wedding that I've ever planned, and I've been married 3 times. Yeah, I have 3 times, and this is bigger than any marriage I've ever planned. Thankfully, Johnny's putting up with me. We've been together about 20 years now. Thank you, Johnny, if you're listening to the podcast, for putting up with all my wild and crazy dreams. But now I want to move on to the next power move you can take to really help you overcome fear, be unstoppable, both personally and professionally. And that is take taking aligned action. And you know what? Clarity comes through movement and not overthinking. And I always remember this saying, you can't steer a parked car, right? So I want you to really think about taking messy, imperfect action because you know what? I didn't know what I was doing when I started this podcast. I was just like, I want to do a podcast and I'm sure I'm going to mess up and I still do, but I'm just going to take action. I was like, I want to be a speaker. And I was still am not the best speaker. I still continue to learn and grow, but I took action and I took the leap of faith and was like, I'm a speaker and started speaking at anybody's event who would have me, any networking event, any recovery meeting. And I was just starting to take action. I got off the phone today with a new client of mine who is super sweet, young girl, and wants to do more speaking. And I said, okay, well, let's look at how you're advertising who you are and what you do. And she hadn't done anything yet. How are people going to know that you want to speak events if they don't know you speak? They don't know what you speak on. So this is something we are diving deep into, and I'm making a very incredible special offer at the event that we are going to dive into branding, marketing, strategy, all kinds of stuff, so you can have unstoppable success. But I really want you to take aligned action. And I want to introduce you to something I call the daily three method. So focus on these three things. Focus on what is one win for your mindset that you do every single day. And you can journal about this, you can write about it. What's one thing that you've done? That could be a gratitude list or a gratitude journal. It could be a devotional. It could be silence. It could be meditation, whatever that is. But one mindset shift that you've done that is a win. And it could be that you went through the day and you had the inner bully pop up and you tamed it. One win for your mission. Okay, what did you do today? Did you write content? Did you pitch yourself? Did you make a phone call? Did you plan a lunch to meet with someone? Did you do a post on social media? What did you do that is a win for your mission? Um, then one win for your movement. Look, y'all, one of my non-negotiables I already talked about is moving my body. And moving my body moves my mindset. It's my medicine. So, how can you move your body? And this doesn't have to be an hour and a half workout at the gym. It can literally be okay, I'm focused on between Zoom calls. I'm doing a 5-minute break so I can go walk around the block or just go step barefoot in the backyard and do a couple of stretches. So, whether you're working out, you're walking, you're stretching, you're taking some breaths, what is one win for your movement? Now, look, these aren't big things. They're small wins that stack up. But when you build that momentum, you become unstoppable. And look, I want to be unstoppable together. This is just one of the frameworks I teach inside the summit. Imagine a VIP day having a delicious dinner in denim and diamonds as attire. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And a full day of coaching and fire to launch your next level. So I want you to think about which of these 5 powerful moves do you need most to lean into this week? And if this episode really sparked something in you, imagine what would happen if you were surrounded by 100 plus women and on the same journey. Now, there's going to be a few token fellas there too, but come join us at the Unstoppable Success Summit. This is your time, but time is running out. We only have 2 VIP tickets left. Yeah, there's only two left. And I'm not just saying that. There are really only two left. The hotel, we have only arranged for a certain amount of people for the VIP event. Go to go.amberleylago.com / USS 2025. Again, it's go.amberleylago.com / USS 2025, or the links in the show notes if you're out driving or listening to this while you're at the gym. I appreciate you listening, and I really hope to see you at the summit. So all those links will be in the show notes. And you know what? Tell you what, I'm going to do something real special. My team is probably going to kill me. If you DM me, no, you know what? I'm going to give my email out to you. If you email me at amberleylago.com and you say, Amberley, I want to be there, I am going to give you a general admission ticket for like almost free. It's going to be insane. Yeah. So, yeah, just email me if you really want to come. I'll get you in. We'll make it happen. Anyway, thank you for listening to the show. I appreciate you being here. Have an unstoppable week. And now I'm sending you so much love. Okay, until next week, I'll see you soon.